Hey everybody, Phil Struzula from Next Wave Hire. Thanks for checking out another Whiteboard Wednesday. Today we're talking about AI and recruiting, kind of what you need to know, how these systems work, and questions to ask vendors when you're evaluating these sorts of technologies. And I've got my buddy Vinayak here from Drafted. He's going to lend his expertise as well as a guy who's pretty deep in AI. So one of the cool things about AI in HR is that this has actually been around for a really long time. We just didn't call it that because it wasn't as sexy, I guess. So the use case I'm sure everybody's familiar with is resume parsing. Basically, a job description, maybe for a software engineer, is posted. There's some sort of machine learning thing that takes in a bunch of resumes and tries to figure out which of these resumes match to this job description. So that's kind of what we're already used to. And Vinayak, do you want to talk about how these systems work and kind of what to look for in vendors?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, by the way. So one of the things that we try and do when we're trying to make AI systems to help us kind of find the perfect match between a resume and a job description is that we need to understand what the common factors are that we should be looking for, right? As a recruiter, for example, you might look at a resume for a potential software engineer and say, oh, well, this person has great experience in Java and SQL, which makes them a good fit. Or they have a job history that says they were a front-end engineer before, which makes them a good fit also. So what we try to do is we try to bring that intuition and actually make machines understand it. Where, for example, what we could do is we could take 100 different job descriptions, all for different kinds of software engineers, and try to find what they have in common, right? So maybe a lot of them mention Java, maybe a lot of them mention front-end engineering, but maybe most of them don't mention Microsoft Excel, which means that we can safely say that, oh, if a resume has Microsoft Excel listed as one of the skills, it's probably not relevant and doesn't really say anything about whether that person is a good software engineer or not. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, so Excel could be there, could not be there. It's not a signal that this person's a good match.
Exactly.
And I guess the other interesting thing here is that, the AI is getting more and more intelligent, but it's not quite there yet where a human doesn't need to come in and say, maybe for my organization, software engineers need to know Java, but we also have a list of companies like Yelp or Facebook where if they've worked there before, that's a really good signal for us. And so that
Absolutely.
human touch is so necessary, I think, for almost all of these AI applications at this point.
Yeah, that couldn't have said it better myself.
And you can tell who wrote this. Who wrote this.
Yeah, I mean, one of the ways in which these systems also try to learn is whenever they do something poorly, they try to get feedback from the user, right? So, it's kind of like when you say thumbs up or thumbs down on Tinder, where if you get a bad match and you say, oh, this is a bad match, then most of these systems will try to learn that, oh, this is a bad match. Well, why is it a bad match? Is it a bad match because that person had Excel on their resume? Or is it a bad match because they didn't have Facebook on their resume, right? And then it'll try to improve over time and improve the associations that it's forming. So one of the things to keep in mind when looking at systems like this is, do they have a feedback system? Do they let you say whether they're doing a good or bad job? Because if they do, then that means that over time, your experience with those products is going to get better.
Yeah, so basically, how is this happening? What's the data set? Is it relevant to you? And I think, there are many different applications for AI within recruiting. We've kind of stuck with this one very basic one that everybody knows about. But if you're deeper beyond this sort of 101 level, check out the write-up, the blog post that we have that comes with this video. And we're going to talk about different companies using AI specifically in recruiting. Some of these buzzwords like ontology and keyword extraction, what do they actually mean? So again, Phil Struzula from Next Wave Hire, Vinayak from Drafted. Thanks a lot for checking out Whiteboard Wednesdays, and leave us a comment if you have a question. Thanks.